everybody, this is Jean here, Jean True Love from True Love Quilts for You. I hope I'm not boring you guys. I'm still working on my red and white sampler quilt. I want to get this quilt finished before I start or try to finish another project. Because of my move, I have not quite a few, just a few unfinished projects. And if you've been following, you know I do not like to have unfinished projects. I think myself personally, why put all that time and effort into something to have it languishing in the corner? I have a quilt that I started, a black background quilt with like it's called like a fractured Dresden plate that I just found. I completely forgot, and the top is about 3/4 way done. I'm going to maybe work on that next. Maybe if you remember from ages ago. If not, I'll refresh your memory later on. But I just wanted to clear up just a few things this morning. I'm just going to, I always say, it's just a few minutes and then I waffle on and on. Whatever. As you know, if you saw my last video, I'm free motion quilting my sampler quilt with a very, very basic of basic quilting stitches. If you hadn't seen that video, it's called a meandering stitch. It's just a wavy in and out, starting wherever. This quilt comprises of 42 blocks. I'm quilting each block, just starting either in the corner or in the middle and just meandering. Only takes a few seconds to quilt a block. I am now on to quilting my sashing, and a couple people wanted to see how I'm going to free motion quilt my circles. Again, I think I have, I apologize if I'm repeating myself. I have maybe 2 or 3 other free motion quilting videos over the last couple years of me free motion quilting my circles. I like that, but somebody wants to see it, so I'll do it again. I'm going to be free motion quilting my red sashing with red thread. I will show you where I quilted the little white cornerstones between the sashing with a white thread circle. I have to address something though, because I sort of got yelled at. No, I didn't get yelled at, but 2 people very kindly made me aware of something that what is that word, erroneously, wrongly said when I was talking about setting up yourself for free motion quilting. I was waffling on and on. I'm trying to slow down. And I'm talking about how you set up your machine. Now, every single machine is different. And as I did say, and I urge you to, and it's so important, to figure out your own machine, whether it's computerized or manual or old or brand new, or if you're used to it, how to actually set your machine settings for free motion quilting. I wrongly said you get rid of all the tension in your machine. That's not correct. What I meant to say, and thank you so much for pointing that out, folks, who pointed that out to me. What I meant to say is I set my stitch length to 0, and I drop my feed dogs, the little teeth, and then my thread is threaded exactly the same way through my tension disc, through my tension guides, and up. What I meant to say is this machine in particular, you can loosen the pressure on your presser foot. Your presser foot should, when you're free motion quilting, glide on the top of your fabric. Not, by all means, you raise your presser foot, you lower your presser foot. But if you have the capability, again, figure out your own machine. If you have the capability to raise the pressure of that presser foot off the top of your fabric so your fabric will move steadier. Now, I did fail to mention, again, something so very important, was when you're free motion quilting, you need a free motion quilting foot. Now, I have on my machine here a closed toe. It's a round circle. I will put my camera down, and when I do my circles, my free motion quilting circles, I will show you the actual foot. My machine also comes with an open, an open-toed foot. Again, I will show you close up that this is an open toe. It's almost just sort of like a horseshoe shape. A lot of machines come with a free motion quilting foot that is a plastic disc, so that rides on the top. Whatever your foot is for your machine. Now again, a lot of people have said, well, I don't have a free motion quilt. You can buy them a free motion quilting foot like aftermarket if your machine perhaps is a bit older. But you have to be aware, and again, it's your own machine, whether you have what is called a low shank or a high shank thing that comes down. I don't know what that means, but you have to figure it out. Figure out your machine, figure out your foot if you do get an aftermarket one. But a lot of machines, newer ones, obviously will come with a, maybe it's not obvious, sorry if I'm messing up, come with a free motion quilting foot. Somebody also said that they don't lower their feed dogs, which are the little teeth. More power to you. My machine has the ability, I just push a button or turn a lever, my feed dogs drop. And again, somebody said, well, I don't have the lever, I don't have the capability. Way back when, people would actually take like a business card, a card stock, and tape the card stock to their bed securely, just to cover your feed dogs. Because again, I'm beating a dead horse. Free motion quilting, your needle is just going up and down with the tension done properly. So I'm doing a redo. Somebody messaged me and said, you better do a redo on that. Sorry about that, I messed up. There's so many things that you have to remember with free motion quilting. And as I said, I wrongly admitted that. I wrongly omitted that, and I admit that. So figure out your machine, and again, it's very important. I'm going to show you. I have left over here some fabric, just a hunk of fabric, and this is say doubled or even quadrupled. Okay. You might think when I say practice, 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 oh, I'll grab a piece of fabric. You really have to, when you're practicing, and it may be not wasteful, but you're thinking, well, I don't really want to use my, good fabric. That's why I say just use an old fat quarter, but you really need to practice free motion quilting on a larger piece because it covers a lot of space, with the fiber of the fabric that you're going to be using, the batting that you're going to be using, and the backing that you're going to be using in order to set up your machine if you're going to be then doing it on your good quilt. Using just a hunk of fabric, it doesn't give the right stitch consistency, I find. You may be able to practice on that and do it. It does it to a great extent, but I think the real litmus test is to have an actual quilt sandwich, similar to what your real quilt is. So that, again, is personal preference. And as I was saying, practice, practice, practice. What a lot of people will find, because so many people say, oh, you make that look easy. I'm sorry about that, because it's not an easy task. I keep saying that, don't I? It's not an easy thing. I taught myself early on in my quilting. I've only been quilting for almost 15 years. And early on, I saw feathers being done. And I thought, oh, I want to do that. And boy, oh boy, I got those skip stitches and millions of, and then all these eyelashes on the bottom. I was going too fast around corners. You'll get it if you're practicing. You get these little ugly loops. It'll look fine on the front side. You turn it over and it's like, what? All these horrible, the back will be a mess or knots or whatever. But I firmly believe in learning the art of free motion quilting. One of my very first videos, I'm so embarrassed because I was such a mess. I didn't know how to talk to I still don't know how to talk to the camera, but I was all nervous and all. But I think it's one of my like fourth videos, I show you how I actually use stencils. I use stencils and a pounce pad, a pounce pad with chalk. And that's a whole another video to make the actual design on the top of my quilt. Then I can follow that stencil design. Let me just see. Yeah, oh, hold on. Oh no, that when I packed up my things, let me see if I can pull these out. I packed my stencils. These are just a few of them. Yeah, here's just a few stencils. So this is a quilting stencil, but not necessarily for free motion quilting, maybe for a hand quilter to transfer the design. I just have them together. But like here's a stencil. Don't know if you can see that. It's a stencil of a little heart type flower type of thing. So what I do is to get this design on darker fabric, that's a whole nother video, is I would just rub chalk over it. It's a product. You rub chalk over it. There's the design. That's the design. And again, refer back to one of my very, very first videos of how I free motion quilt using a stencil, because so many people are like, well, what do I quilt? As I addressed it in my last video, what do I quilt? And this gives you the opportunity to have a stencil design, and then you just follow that. But again, that's a whole nother thing. I'm just going to put my camera down just for a few minutes and show you how I'm going to be quilting. You'll see my meandering. You've already seen that. How I'm going to be quilting my circles on my quilt. Now, I did tell you that this quilt doesn't have a border as such. I just use the sashing and the cornerstones as the border. Now, my circles, my little circles here in my white cornerstones on the outside of my quilt, which however many are, a couple dozen, going around the whole perimeter of my quilt, I did the circle smaller because I'm going to put my binding on it, and I don't necessarily want to cover my quilting stitch. I mean, who really cares, right? It's just a circle on a piece of fabric. But the other cornerstones, I will show you, have a nice circle that sort of fill the cornerstones. So again, if you're trying to figure out how to quilt your sampler quilt, if you followed along in my Jean's Block Party 2019, this is how I'm doing it. And it's turning out nice. But I'll put my camera up. I'm just thinking, oh, just one other thing. I went to, for the first time in my 63 years, I went to an eye doctor because the last year or so, maybe 2 years, my left eye was I'm sort of having like a flash of light, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not good. I've never had an eye exam. And other than going to midwives and just a few doctors for bronchitis, we're not really going to doctor people. We have to start, my husband's extremely fit. I've been very, very fit, but my eyes were a bit messed up, and you can't really see because I'm embarrassed about it, but I have, the last year or so, red, raw eyes. And I never had that. My eyes were always nice and bright, and I was really embarrassed, and I just use readers. I started using reader sunglasses only about 4 or 5 years ago. I think I did pretty good. And I just can't see. It makes reading and quilting a little bit easier. So I use dollar store reader glasses, right? I have a million of them. But I did go to the eye doctor because of my raw eyes, and I'm like, what in the world? I don't have any allergies. Here, she did a comprehensive eye exam, and put like the dye in my eyes to see, I don't know what that was doing, but she was saying that my tear film, not my tear ducts, the tear film is almost non-existent. And I have extreme dry eyes. I'm getting older, and I need the stuff for dry eyes. I'm sure quite a lot of you, I'm not saying you're old, but like, we're getting old, right? Have dry eyes, and it has to do with my eyes in particular. I don't have any hardly tear stuff left. And she put this dye in. She had to do it again because by the time she put the dye in, I put my head on my chin on the thing it was evaporated. She said, oh my word, you really have dry eyes, and hence the red and the itchy, blah, blah, blah. But the upshot of my eye test was I need glasses, proper glasses. I have 20/40 vision. This eye, my left eye, is a bit messed up. I'm fine. I don't like to drive at night, but most older people don't because of the glare. Anyway, I need to get 2 sets of glasses. And I get my reading glasses from the dollar store, right? $480 later. I've never been to an eye doctor, right? And there's a wall that like your glasses start at $9, $49. Well, I picked out the $99. That's only the frames. You're laughing at me, right? Like that's the frames. You need your prescription. You need the dye. You need this on the glass. Blah blah. Then I needed 2 pairs. One for up close and one for far away. So I'm going to start really taking care of my eyes. But I have such pretty dollar store glasses, and I have a million of them. And now I'll just have the 1 pair. That cost me a lot of money. I did not know. I have insurance, health insurance. It didn't cover it, of course. I think you only have insurance until you need it, right? Anyway, that was a bit of a fright. So I came home and I told Ian, and he's like, no, darling. He said, you have to look after your eyes. It was fine. But that got a shock of the century. I'm like, what? I didn't know glasses cost that much. What the heck? Anyway, I have my silly little dollar store. Oh, I'm not going to say goodbye to them. My new glasses come in 2 weeks. So you'll be seeing the same exact glasses. She gave me some eye drops. Oh, like, sorry, Visine Company and all of those. The red eye out. She said, this is an eye doctor, not my words. She goes, get rid of them. She said that all they do is shrink the capillaries temporarily, and it's not a good thing. And they don't, it's not helping your eyes any. So she gave me another eye drop. It's an over-the-counter for dry eyes, which will help lubricate my eyes, hopefully, so I'm not all like red-eyed and bleary-eyed. And again, that only happened in the last year or so. I always had real bright eyes. I had bright eyes and bushy tails. My bushy tail just like flop. Anyway, I'm going to put my camera, and there I go waffling on again. My eyes are okay. I need glasses. So I'm like, yeah, I'm getting older. It's okay though. It's all good. So I'm going to put my camera down to show you how I free motion quilt my circles. And then I guess the next thing, when I'm done free motion quilting, is again, you'll have seen me, you people who have followed me, you'll see me binding my quilt. But if those of you who are new, I'll show you how I prepare my quilt for binding, making my binding, and then binding it, and then my quilt will be finished. And then on to whatever next project I have, or tutorial, or whatever. But again, I thank you for watching me, and working on this quilt. It's been taking me a while to get back to normal, but yeah, I'll put my camera down. All right, folks, see ya. Bye. So here I am at my machine, and hopefully, I'm trying to look through this at the lens. Hopefully you can see what I've been free motion quilting here. This is my meandering stitch on these blocks here. I will go back and I will do a straight stitch in the ditch. I don't love the way these between the blocks are sort of proud. I will do a stitch in between those blocks, just up and down the quilt and over and across through the sashing. As you can see here, I've done just a white circle of on my white cornerstones. I've changed my thread to red, and I'm going to be now quilting my red sashing here. You probably won't be able to see it because it won't be making it I'm doing red on red, but maybe you'll be able to see how it puffs up the actual quilting stitch. Again, this is just my free motion quilting. This is my foot that I was telling you. This is my this is called a closed toe free motion quilting foot. And this, as I was talking to you, this is an open toe free motion quilting foot. And again, some of them have a plastic disc on, and you have to, you know, and then you put that on the back of your, again, either high shank or low shank, whatever it is. My machine here is my Juki. People saying, what is your machine? It's a my Juki TL 2200 QVP Mini. I have my machine set on 0 stitches. I have my feed dogs down. That little lever puts my feed dogs down, and I have it threaded just as I would up my thread cone. I have it threaded through my discs just as it comes, as I do my regular sewing. Oh, again, people have been asking me forever, where have I gotten my flowers on my machine? Are they painted on? These, and I've told a million people, these are called floral tattoos. They're rub-on decals, and they are from a company called Urban, U-R-B-A-N, Elements, and it has a Z on it, elements.com. urbanelements.com. So that's the rub-on decals, and if you go there, they have a bunch of quilting supplies as well as all sorts of designs. You can put them on appliances, on whatever, these rub-on decals. So that's that. So I'm going to start, again, my free motion quilting. Now for my circles, I'm going to start I have to envision where I'm going to go. Again, as I pin baste. So I take out that pin, and I'm going to be stitching this row of sashing right here. Let me put this over here a little bit. Hopefully you can see it. So I figure out in my head, I want 5 circles. So I'm going to do one here, about the size of that one, about the size of a silver dollar. So I'm going to do one, and I go back over it. Of course I do. I go back over the stitching to get to the next part, which is here. I'm going to do 2. And then why I'm doing 5 is on the middle of my block, which is right here, the middle of my sashing right here, I'm going to do one on, you know, a circle that takes up either side, a big circle in the middle, and then I'll come over and I'll attach one more and one more, which makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles. So I will start. Again, the way I free motion quilt, I have a white bobbin underneath, which is fine, because again, my machine has been set up really well so that my bobbin thread will not show on the top. Again, that's all experimentation. So I have white bobbin thread on my machine, on my backing here, which I'm fine with. And that white bobbin thread does not show when I'm using red thread. But by all means, you can coordinate your bobbin thread to your top thread. That's fine. So I'm going to start, if you can see on this white one that I did, I started sort of, well, this one is up here in the middle. It's not perfect. It's fine. I pull my threads up. I pull my top thread and my bobbin thread up, and with needle down, I start, and I just imaginarily, you can't really see it, I imaginarily make a circle that size. Now, I want to get rid, I'm going to just go over that, and then I'm just going to come in, needle always down, needle down when you're free motion quilting. I'm going to just put those threads over there. Now, I can see it, you probably can't. I'm going to just follow that thread, that stitching, to this middle of this circle here. And then I'm going to do another circle. To the middle, and then back up again. To the middle. Now I'm going to do a little bit larger as my bigger middle circle. Then around to the middle. My 4th one. Up and around to the middle. And my 5th one. And I'll just stop there. So you can't really, oh, there you can, maybe. You can see the impression of my quilting stitches on there. Let me just get this up. And I'll just cut my threads here. I'll cut my thread underneath in a minute. So you can see the quilting. Can you see that? The circle of the quilting. And again, as I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to stitch in the ditch all of my sashing. I don't love that, you know, sort of sticking up. I'm just going to flatten that right out. That won't take me long, all the way across my sashing, all the way across my quilt. But there's my quilt top. It's coming along. Oh, I did want to show you, I will cut this thread. I did want to show you my one block. Where is it? Here we go. So I just wanted to show you, oh, let me just see, I should have found it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, Jean, you should have done this before. Of all the blocks. Oh, here we go. So, I wanted to show you my heart. How I free motion. Do you remember I had 3 hearts? Remember I had 3 hearts on my quilt? Well, this is what I did with this heart block. This is my applique, my blanket stitch applique, okay, that we all did. Remember that? We blanket stitched this applique heart. This was maybe 30 or 40 blocks into our block party because it was a little bit of a different challenge. So I actually did my meandering around my block. Remember we put the little not the cornerstones, the little points on the end to give the block a little bit more interest. So I just meandered in here in this cream and the burgundy. But in my heart, as you can see, I almost did, it's sort of a meander stitch, but it's a little bit more controlled. I started in here and I just sort of did this more controlled meandering, the sort of the shape going into the heart. Can you see that? It's not quite a feather, because I'm not real good on feathers unless I stencil them, but it's inside of my heart here. And then afterwards I did a stitch, I stitched right around the heart itself, so it stands up proud. So there is the back of it, as you can see, if you can see, it's not quite as meandering as it would be normally. It has this heart shape, which I'm fine with. But I wanted to share that with you. If any of you are doing this and like, well, how do I meander? You can meander the whole thing across. It would be fine. But I just sort of treated the heart separately as I did the others. So anyway, that's my little thing for today. Just wanted to check in and say hello to you all. And again, thank you for following along. True Love Quilts for you. Yes. All right. My heart goes out to you guys. Stay safe and stay healthy. Yeah. All right. See you later. Bye.